Alright guys, I've been putting off this video for a little bit, mainly because it's a big update. It is a big update and it is very hard to quantify this update as good or bad because there's so many aspects of this update. So let me go through each one and then I'm going to give my final okay. Basically the last 4 updates we've gotten good updates. And this one, based on those standards, well, we'll see. I'm gonna go into it. So as far as the season goes, you know, the season is decent. You've got the typical like a line where you have to go and you have to do it right away. Like each day you got to get your 60 points. That's with iGo and 2Go. You got to get those 60 points. You got to turn them in. Those points are, yeah, they're like, I would say they're kind of normal. That quest line is kind of like your normal, just Frostborn update. That it's somewhat friendly to free-to-play players, but you have to be on each day. And then there's the season, and I would say that the season, getting the quests done, turning them in, pretty easy. It's a little grindy, but it's pretty easy. Pretty friendly to free-to-play players. The problem that I have with this season is that the free-to-play player rewards, the free rewards, are just so much worse than the bottom ones, and more so than other seasons. There are a lot of legendaries on that bottom, and you can see, really, it's a lot of blues and greens. You don't even get into the purples until like level 50, halfway through, where meanwhile you're getting a lot of purples and legendaries down there. That just seems a little bit, it seems worse than usual, and I'm not sure why that is happening. I'm curious to know, like, are the devs experiencing more people doing the season with alts, like people that just have a lot of time on their hand and then they trade the rewards? That makes me really sad, because for those of you who don't have alts and are free to play, you're getting, you know, worse rewards. But I still think it's worth doing the season, but it is a little bit grindy. So that's the season part. Very similar to other seasons, a little bit worse, but not enough to call it a bad update. That's just the season, you know, the season's been meh. The new ints, I keep calling them ints because that's what I'm used to, but mounts, the tree guy, the tree thing, this thing, the elementals, that's what they call them. They're cool. They look really cool. They move really cool. They're not overpowered. The legendary skill on it, if you didn't watch that video, they're not overpowered. So I'd say the mount is cool. That's another kind of typical addition you see in seasons. So I would say, I think I've covered everything in the global map that covers the new update. And so we get into the main finale, which is the new lands. So the new lands, you can only access them if you're district level 80. I think that's okay. District level 80, if, you know, district level, what was it? 84 is what you really need to get to for your stable. Yeah, I think 69 is what you need for the most doors, and I think it was 84. So really, you need to be getting to 84 anyways. So this is just going to help motivate you to get there. Though I am curious if getting into the Elven lands is going to be even harder. Eventually, I might be like, oh, this is a... But honestly, as long as they don't get above 120, it's still pretty available to free-to-play players. So we got 3 zones, and all 3 of them are different things to talk about. So let's start with some that's not, I would say, not the best. That's the Great Tree. So the storyline stuff that's kind of typical to archives is it's not amazing. It's cool to read the stories, but they don't give you, it's not super concrete. And then the arena that you do is like crazy grindy and crazy difficult. So you have to go out and do these different things to be able to get the medallions to be able to do the arena. If you guys did not watch that video, you should. And then when you do enough of those, then you get access to the next tier. And then when you do those, you get access to the next tier. That 3rd tier is insanely difficult. I think that I've been brainstorming ways of making it a little bit easier. I don't know if I could make it through round 2, but I think I can now make it through round 1. Problem is, getting to even just to get to round 1 is pretty difficult. It's a lot of grind. It's a lot of work. It's one of those exponential things that I really don't like in Last Day on Earth, and I'm seeing it here in Frostborn. So I would say that the Great Tree is a bad part of this update. And by itself, I would say this would be considered a bad update, first bad update in 5 updates, discounting Frostborn. And it may still discount Frostborn, but it's not the biggest part of this update. So let's keep talking. The new zone is interesting. At first, I thought it was lame, mainly because you need a steel pickaxe to do anything except for getting trees. But then when I realized that once you get your oven unlocked, some people are going to be going in for berries, which is an intriguing aspect of the game, that the more berries you pick up, it makes you lose your hunger, and you're slower, and you have less health, and you have less attack speed. So if you see someone farming berries, it's pretty easy to kill them. So I like that with the Elfire's camp. I really think the meteorite stuff was dumb. Just the fact that you gotta mine and mine and mine, and you're gonna have to fight more mobs. I don't know if they fixed all of it. If they did fix it, that helps. They will fix it though. Like, we're gonna complain, and they're gonna make meteorites a little bit easier. You gotta understand with Kefir, they make things super hard at first, and then over time things get easier. So I've just gotten used to that. If you don't like that, well, then you probably shouldn't play Kefir games. I'm not. It doesn't bother me that much. I do think getting magic clay was kind of fun to farm, but I would do it with a team because it's kind of scary. Bears are really powerful, but I kind of like that. So it's an okay zone. At first, I didn't think it had enough depth to it. I thought it was just a really hard zone. Now that I've understand how it works a little bit more, and that as people get more steel pickaxes, and as people get ovens, and there's different things that people are going to be farming in that zone, I think it will be a more dynamic zone. So I'm a little bit more neutral in this. Where I'm actually really positive is the ship graveyard. And some of you are like, whoa, why is Forza positive about the ship graveyard? And the reason for that is because it is a truly well-made arena PvP zone. If you like 1v1, v1v1, if you like one-on-one PvP, this zone is awesome. Once every 2 hours, you get a chance to don your best gear and go if you want the PvP. If you don't want the PvP, you want to do just kind of like a scrappy, grab stuff and go, then you have that chance too. It's not that crazy. It's like 350 gear score is what you need. And the main thing you want here, the main thing this zone has that no other zone has, is salt, which is very easy to get. It's very easy to get salt. You make a little scrappy gear, you go in, you get the salt, you get out. That's kind of fun. I think that's fun. So, but then if you really like PvP, then you now have the opportunity. Put on your best gear. You're going to match with other people with their best gear. You go and you fight to the death, and you take out that legendary gear. That's awesome. I think that's an incredible addition to the game, that they have a 1v1v1v1. And those of you who are like, man, I don't want to do that PvP, they have ways of you to get salt through the Elven resources, through the season. If you go in the season, even the free-to-play versions, you just look for the purple. Here it is. This right here. The Elven resources. You can get salt from that. It's not a lot. It's not ideal. Also, you can trade with people that like PvP. So the people that really PvP a lot are going to have more salt than they know what to do with. And so if salt is worth a lot, here's the thing. PvPers need a lot of bandages. Bandages are easy to farm. So if you're a free-to-play player, go farm for bandages and trade bandages for salt with a PvP player. Does that make sense? That's Frostborn right there. It's not a personal item. And so there's a lot of options for you. But this zone is a unique zone. It's something nowhere else in Frostborn has a zone like that. And I really hope someday they will add duos, where it's a zone and you match and it's 2 versus 2, or trios, or even 4-man teams. That is going to be, I think this is the future for that. Having a zone that's how you get it. You got to, oh man, I need a teammate. And if you don't ever want to do that, then you go and get salt and you trade with those people for that resources. Or you go and you get bandages and you trade with, I mean, basically bandages for a PvP player you can trade a lot. You know, they can't buy it in the store, so they need, if they do a lot of PvP, they're going to need a lot of bandages. So go and figure out a way to succeed and trade with people. Yes, it'd be nice if Frostborn created an actual way of trading that we don't get scammed by. I don't know why they don't. Seems pretty easy. Seems like it would revolutionize the game for the better, but that's my soapbox. So all that to say, I would say it's hard. It is very hard to determine if the Great Tree brings down the ship graveyard in my mind. I know some of you don't like the ship graveyard, and you and I just disagree. At the end of the day, in my mind, the ship graveyard is a good addition to the game because it is unique, special, and has purpose. And there is a resource that you have to go do that purpose to get. I love that. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Even if you say, oh, but Forza, there's some players that can't do that. Yeah, no duh. I understand. Go trade with them. Figure it out. That makes the game more dynamic. You can't just keep adding the same stuff over and over again, or the game will get stale. That's my opinion. If you disagree, then, you know, we're just going to be at odds. So I would say that this is a very good addition to the game. This is a meh addition of the game. And this is a what the heck stupid addition to the game. And it is very hard for me to know. I would say that this update is not a great update for sure. I would not say it's a bad update. So I'm going to call this a meh update. It's not as pay to win as people think it is. This update is not as pay to win. Oh, there's another big addition. Obviously the new food items. You have to get these items to get there. But if you kill someone with those food items on, then you get those food items. None of them are personal. So yes, it does give them an advantage. Yes, when there's already a very powerful pay-to-win person who's already good at PvP and he uses that blood sausage and gets an extra 150 health. Ooh, that is rough. I mean, that is the biggest disadvantage to the new food items. But like I said, you can trade for that stuff. Trade bandages, purple sets. I mean, go do Odin's. You know, I've showed you guys how to do Odin's like a million times. You can trade purple sets for that blood sausage. You're gonna find someone who's willing to trade you. And then when you got that blood sausage, then you're gonna dominate in the same way. And if you suck at PvP, well then join the club, guys. 90% of the time I suck at PvP. Every once in a while I have this glowing moment. Everyone's like, oh, what? Forza's good at PvP. And then I stop playing for like a week and then I'm bad again. So, you know, you and I are in the same boat. And I still love the game. So at the end of the day, I am officially declaring that this update is a meh update. And this is the JC of opinion. I am no longer, every live stream I've done for the last 4 updates, I've been like, we've gotten 4 good updates in a row. Is this one gonna be the 5th? And starting over, which really stinks, but it is what it is. This was not a good update. It was a meh update. It has some cool things. I do think that if they fix the giant tree, that it could become a good update. And so if they fix the giant tree and it's like, no, they truly have fixed it, then maybe someday I might go back and be like, well, okay, then it was a good update. I don't know what I'm going to do with that whole, like, the streak. I'm really sad, you know, because Frostborn had this, like, streak that I was really promoting. Oh, they're just good updates after good updates after good updates. And that streak is over. So that's sad, but hopefully they will keep producing good updates. This wasn't a bad update, but it just didn't quite measure that success. It was just a little too pay. It was too pay to win. That's the reason why it is being brought down and not being able to carry on that streak that Frostborn had of good update after good update. It's just a little too pay to win. And I do think with level caps being increased and other things in the future, we are heading for a even more pay to win game. But as you guys know with Kafir, they do make it easier later on. So we'll see what they end up doing. All right, guys. See you next time.